Hey, I wanted to do a quick video to talk about this skeleton Terramod TMX axle Jeep that I'm doing. And so I'm going to do a little quick overview. You can see what's going on inside the truck, and then we're going to take it out and do some wheeling, and you get to see kind of where it's at with the tires. I'm using the TMX, and we'll see how it is on a bunch of different terrain. So this is our skeleton chassis. You guys are familiar with this probably, but there's a couple of things that we've added onto this chassis that I wanted to talk about. So in this particular truck, it's this combo that we have right here is actually our factory built TMX skeleton kit. You can find that in the YouTube link in the description if you want to go and check it out, or at gcmracing.ca. And basically what we do with the TMX skeletons is we take our regular skeleton chassis kit, which includes all the center stuff you see here, and then we add the TMX 44 style axles on it. So we've got these fantastic scale looking Jeep style axles, the same in the rear. We use the same 44 cover in the rear, so a really nice legit scale kind of an axle. And then we add a couple extra things. We add the two side sliders on it for this particular build. These also have a little hole here, you can see here, and they are used to mount the body. I'll show you that in a minute. This particular truck is going to use the RC four-wheel drive Jeep style Sahara kind of a rim, I guess, that they made years ago. And I'm not sure if they're still available yet or not, but I still have to put the center caps on these now that we've installed them. And of course we're using the Duratrack Wrangler 1.9 size tire from RC four-wheel drive. This is a really nice tire, very soft, with a very good foam in it. Now our skeleton kits, we have a styrene template. We have a paper template that you can trace onto a piece of styrene. It's a simple bend, and then with that done, paint them black or use black styrene if you want, and then they just bolt here into the servo mount holes, and this creates an inner fender that covers over the spur gear on the transmission. It protects all the electronics from spray from the inner fenders here. And you can see here in this particular build we're using a Power HD 20 kilogram servo. This is the waterproof. This is the not waterproof version, but they seem to be both waterproof from my experience. I have no idea why there's a difference, but the red one is the not waterproof, and it seems to be fine against all the elements we've given it. We're using a Team Raffi 55 turn brushed motor. That's the standard 3-slot style of brushed motor that we're all used to, and I'm powering it with a 1060 quick run Hobbywing ESC, which you can see right in there. Now this particular layout uses our Shapeways printed rear body mount and battery mount setup. You can find all that stuff in the link in the bottom of the YouTube channel. And then we home printed our sliders. These are also available on our Shapeways channel, but they're available for purchase from Shapeways or download. And so we just took the download file, stuck it on our home printer, and made some ABS black sliders. These bolt right into the chassis here with these two spots right here. And then they give you this nice sort of an arced, smooth transition onto the frame rail. And nice and flat. Really easy for getting over the rocks. So that's pretty interesting to see how the skeleton chassis lays out on the Jeep, because you can see that there's just nothing here. I mean, there's this particular chassis was designed around this two-door JK hardbody, and it needs a super far deep interior. There's a little bit of space up top here for the rear shock towers that we're using. And none of the body has modifications to make this chassis fit. The one thing that we did have to change on the body is, in order to get the sliders to fit the best possible way, there's a little extra piece of plastic that sticks down here on the original bodies, and we have trimmed that off. So basically we drew a flat line from one fender lip to the other, and then we simply just chopped it off right there. There's you'll see on the original bodies there's a little tiny bit of material that sticks straight down here, and we cut that off so that when this goes onto the body, It fits on the sliders really straight, and we've done no other modifications to it. So I'm going to turn this upside down here so I can make sure the inner fenders are fitting into the right spots, and we'll just pop those out, push the chassis down in, and so that's where we're at right there. It literally just falls into place. You can see how our slider sits just outside the door, very, very slightly, right in between the two fender lips. So even if you have the fenders trimmed back, which is a really common mod on these Jeep bodies, you can actually trim the fender, this big fender lip off, and give yourself some more wheel clearance. The slider will still work really well with that. This body has now been just dropped on. That's all there is to it. I'm going to add the 2 holes in here so that we've got those in, and then we'll be ready to hit the trail. I want to show you guys the way that this is done, basically so that you can see how much fender coverage there is, wire protection, and all that stuff in the way that this has been set up, and kind of give you an idea of how the truck has been laid out in the design. Obviously you can tell it fits right on there really easily. I mean, there was nothing to that at all. It just drops right on. In this particular case, I've left on the original back bumper that comes with the body and the original big front bumper that comes with the body. In a competition setup, I would probably take those off for sure, because it'll give me a lot more front end clearance. There's not very good approach angle on here. It's not bad. It's not horrible, but you can see here that if this big plastic thing was gone and I had a nice small tube bumper or something, that would actually help my approach angle. In the rear, there's a little bit of, except for my wire hanging out, there's a little bit of an issue here with this possibly catching on stuff on the drop coming off of a hill or whatever. But for now I wanted to leave it in its completely stock position. So there we have it. You can see here inside the wheel well that there's lots of coverage now. You won't be able to see any of the wires inside the front wheel well. You can look in here. Total coverage. There's no interruptions with any of the drivetrain here. It fits nice and straight. And this, the Shapeways mounts that we have on the link below, this setup here that bolts right into the frame, it captures those 2 big bolt holes that are in the back of the factory body. So it's super tight. Like, there's no way for this to slide around or move or anything. And we haven't even used these bolt holes. You can put screws in here to attach the body here. You can also put 2 screws in the front motor plate, in the front, electronics plate. Those 2 screws also go into the body if you want. But in this case, all we're using is these 2 right here, because the body fits so tight already. There's just no need for any other screws to be added to it. So should you have to get the body off, it's only 2 screws when you're using these 2 sliders. Let's take this bad boy out on the trail and see what we get. Oh, that runs pretty good. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of trail and talk. We have a couple other videos coming up from some new events, so stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.